Yeah, I put the transcript from yesterday, baby. I was prepared. That's why I was late. I actually had a good reason for being late today.
I was prepared. That's why I was late. It
Yeah.
sounds like you weren't prepared.
Oh no, I was prepared. I was just also late.
You
Yeah.
were getting prepared, which caused you to be late.
Yes.
Let's just
Yeah.
go. If you're ready, let's just go.
I'm ready. I'm locked and loaded, baby. I'm ready. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So you don't shun the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil finds his groove in them rhythm and blues that sound. It's gonna get you sun in the end.
Welcome back to the Speakeasy. I'm Sother Teague.
And I'm Greg Benson, and it is the end of summer. We made it through another. I know it's wild. I still haven't made it out to the Rockaways, so I'm going to force myself to go out there and just dip in the ocean when it's freezing cold. But you know what? There's some.
I'll go with this entire summer. I haven't made it out to the beach, which is a tragedy for me. I am a huge beach person. I grew up on a beach. I love going to the beach, and somehow this summer I have not been to the sand.
Well, you and I, first of all, I'm in the same boat. I've been to several lakes, which I like lakes, nothing against lakes, but I do believe the ocean to be a superior body of water to any lake that any state or country can offer. But yeah, no, we have been very busy people. We've been all over the place. I mean, you and I were both at Tails. You've been traveling all around. I've been traveling all around, which leads me into something that I want to ask you about, because I've noticed a trend in my travels, and I want to run this by you to see if you've seen this too. So I was in Kansas City a little while ago, as I think astute listeners will remember. And I went to a place called Fern Bar. Shout out to Fern Bar. Awesome place. Wonderful staff.
Arari? I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take a stab at pronouncing it, but I know who you're talking about. Just had an absolutely wonderful time there. Really inventive cocktails, and they had one that was sort of what do you call it? What's the name of it? Like a caprese inspired cocktail. It had a little bit of
tomato
vinegar,
basil cheese.
Exactly. Yes. And that last ingredient is the one that I wanted to ask you about, because I went with a frequent drinking companion of mine. Sup, dude? And when we saw this on the menu, he goes, "Oh man, I was at another spot that also had a cheese washed drink earlier this summer." And no less than 2 days later, a friend of mine texted me and goes, "I'm in Chicago and they have a cocktail with cheese on the menu. Is this a thing?" And I think, according to the New York Times Style Guide, 3 is a trend. So I think we might be observing patient 0 and then patient 2
I don't know about that. I mean,
3.
think about it. Last year, Jordan Hughes, High Proof Preacher, he put Parmesan cheese on top of the I don't think he popularized it. He didn't start it, but he put shredded Parmesan cheese on top of the espresso martini, which caused a.
So are we going on the record here as saying that this is his fault?
I don't know, but if it's his fault, because I was going to say we can go even further back. We had a drink with blue cheese in it way back at Booker and Dax. So, I think this is a thing that, I guess, in my mind, from my culinary background plus my bartending nerdery, this is in the same category as milk washing or dairy. It's just another form of dairy in a cocktail. This doesn't seem mind-blowing to me.
I don't know. I sort of disagree, because I think we've, you and I travel in very rarefied circles, and I think we are ultimately not qualified to say what does and does not make a trend, because we see so many of these very experimental things in their early days. And I guess more what I'm asking about is has this broken containment and it's in the mainstream now?
Oh, yeah, I think so. And I would say, then I would change my answer to your question before about Jordan. I think he has such a platform. For him to shred Parmesan cheese on top of a cocktail is to certainly break its containment.
Yeah.
It's no longer limited to just the nerds.
So we're agreed, Jordan. You did this. Reap what you sow, my friend. This is all your fault. No, I like it. And I like when you can spot trends like this that are going to be not Des Moines, because as we discussed at the top of this year, Des Moines is a very modern and up-to-date city, but say Lansing, Michigan, which is our new punching bag for the year 2025. It's interesting to see when these things make it from, again, the sort of hoity-toity circles that you and I travel into, to a bar at Lansing, Michigan, which, as we all agree, is the worst city in the United States of America. Officially heard it from the proprietor of the Blind Pig Basement Pub in Des Moines, Iowa. That's our new punching bag for 2025. And we've got, this is the start of our fall season, so we've only got one more season this year left to just ride this bit into the ground before, I don't know, maybe we have someone from Lansing on in the first days of 2026 and have them redeem it.
We choose a new punching bag each year. I think that's a good idea.
Speaking of the worst city in the world, San Francisco is not that. And it's actually one of, I think, our best American cities. And our guest works there. He is the owner and operator of El Lopo, which is a sherry and vermouth-focused bar in San Francisco, the Fog City, the gateway to the Pacific. I don't actually know what that city's nickname is. It's Daniel Azarkman. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for calling San Francisco not the worst city in the world.
No, it's one of the best.
I used to live there. I loved it. That's where I went to culinary school a million years ago.
Which school?
I didn't know you used to be a chef, Sother.
Yeah. Which school? I went to the California Culinary Academy down in what's the Tenderloin, right? That's the neighborhood that's in.
Yeah.
Which back then, by the way,
away.
Oh, rad. Yeah, I lived on. Let's see. The school was on Polk and Turk, and I lived on Turk and Hyde. And at that time, by the way, it was warring factions of Vietnamese gangs that were kind of ruling the streets down there. And I lived in the old YMCA building. Sorry, I'm just giving you my CV all of a sudden. I lived in the old YMCA building, which was just absolutely populated by working women. And for my first several weeks there, I would be propositioned anytime I was heading in or out of my door until finally they realized I lived there. And then I was just one of the guys.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Now it's just warring factions between Meta and X, right?
Yeah, it's that. And I think there's a fucking Ben and Jerry's like a block away from where I used to live. But I'm talking, it was like a very dangerous neighborhood when I lived there. And
it has not cleaned up very much. It is pretty much how you remember it.
Yeah. There used to be a bar there that we went to called the Brown Jug, and the reason we even darkened its door, my one of my culinary school pals and I, was it had a brass plaque sign on the door that said "No phone, no toilet, no change, just booze." And I was like, "This is my place."
That's a very Southern coded sign. I can see why you gravitated towards that.
This is us. Anyway. I loved San Francisco when I lived there. I was dirt poor and I was going to school, but I still enjoyed the city. It was beautiful to walk around and do stuff. And you live there now and you operate El Lopo. Let's talk about El Lopo, a sherry and vermouth bar that's been open for 7 years and surely not the easiest business to run. Like my bar is very unique, and that just means that I have to explain it to everybody who comes in the door. Are you in that same kind of position?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, we still pay our bills with the things that the people want. We'll keep unfortified wines on the menu, and there are cheese platters. And if you're not coming for the esoteric stuff, then there is something for you to stay. But it's nice to have something to explain to people. Gives us talking points, gives them a more memorable experience. Well, we've got a whole page on the menu called "What is Sherry?"
well, as we all know, we just wrapped up the summer of sherry. It took everyone by surprise. Just absolutely came out of nowhere, dominated every single cocktail conversation for months. No one saw it coming except me. So, you're welcome, everybody. And Daniel, I suspect you. So I'd like to know a little bit about, I'm sure running a bar that caters to this, somewhat, now explosively famous, but formerly very esoteric ingredient, could require a little bit of explaining. But first, I just kind of want to put a quarter in the machine with you and kind of geek out about sherry and ask you what made you get into this before it absolutely just its meteoric rise in the summer of 2025. And if there's anyone specifically you want to say I told you to, so please take all the time you want. This is the platform for you. Just
Yeah.
just take it away. We're not going to play you off the stage. This isn't the Oscars. Just, tell whatever haters you want to go fuck themselves.
So I had been in the industry for a while already before wine clicked for me. There, like, I felt like something was wrong with my palate. I wasn't tasting all these nuances I was supposed to be getting from wines. Although I was already passionate about food, and I was staging at a really awesome restaurant in town called Nopa at the time. And after a shift, one of the servers poured me a sherry just randomly. I think probably he was suggesting that it would go well with what I was eating. And that was the light bulb moment. Like that was when I suddenly understood the idea of a beverage enhancing something you're eating. And my best analysis of why sherry clicked for me when wine hadn't is sugar. I think a lot of unfortified wine just floods my palate with sweet, and with sherry, like when there's so much less sugar, the other flavors are in focus.
Yeah, I can absolutely follow that logic. I worked at Dovetail for John Fraser here in New York City for a while, and we had a little over 40 sherries on the bar. And this was pre-Amore Margot. Amore's 15, so we're talking 18 years ago. And yeah, same thing. I love that you just said that it clicked with you how the wine can enhance the food, I think is what you said. But I go the other way. I think that sherry is enhanced by the food, not the other way around. You know what I mean?
Okay, well said.
Just my opinion.
Often when I'm having a hard time easing somebody into sherry, see them take their first sip and I don't totally love the face that they're making, I'll put some olives or almonds in front of them to give it one more push.
Exactly, right. You got that something a little bit salty or something a little bit umami, or even just texturally, like, it's quite common to have just some chips, which are also salty and sometimes umami, but that crunch, something to go. I think it enhances the wine as much as it does the other direction as well. And so that light bulb went on for you, but that's a far cry. Sipping some sherry while you have something to eat, probably out of a quart container, standing over the garbage can at the end of your shift, is a far cry from opening a business that that specializes in this. So what made you say to yourself, not only am I learning this thing, the epiphany has happened, where is the impetus to then say, I'm going to put it all on the table and create a business that I'm probably going to have to teach 6 out of 10 people coming in the door what's going on?
So I was already big on Spanish cuisine, already had designs on some kind of tapas bar. Ended up opening in a neighborhood that is very densely packed with bars. And even like when it comes to low proof bars, there are 3 other wine bars, or now more than that, but at the time there were 3 other wine bars just on the street where we're on.
What neighborhood are you in San Francisco?
We're on Polk Street. Lower Polk is actually where the name Lopo comes from.
Cool. Yeah.
So like Polk and Bush, roughly. So one, there was a need to be doing something different from the other bars. 2, didn't have the money for a full liquor license.
I mean, it's cost prohibitive.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
That's right. There's a much greater cost prohibitiveness in San Francisco than, say, here in New York, where licenses are $5,000, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I looked at one, and this was like 2018. Liquor license was around $350K in this neighborhood.
Jesus. And on top of all of that, well, I guess, you don't have to go on top of all of that, but it sounds like the trade-off is your words, not mine, easing people into this experience.
Mhm.
And not only that, but you're using two players behind the bar that have a bad rap, or at least they did until Taylor Swift specifically shouted out Sherry in her announcement to Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce this summer. But before that, Vermouth and Sherry kind of had a bad rap. If people know anything 99% of the time about Sherry, it's that stuff for cooking. And if
Right.
people know anything about vermouth, I feel like maybe not 99%, but most of the time they're like, oh, yeah, no, that's the stuff that you're not supposed to put in a real martini.
Right.
So you have an uphill battle to fight in terms of educating the guest. So I'd love to hear some of you must have developed some tricks, some spiels, some shorthands. The olives, the chips, I'm sure go a long way. But how else do you educate the guest that this is, these are actually surprisingly delightful ingredients that, trust me, you want to try?
Right.
Biggest thing I've found actually moves the needle is just real estate space on the menu. We used to have this fairly straightforward menu where like everything gets as much space as it would naturally take up. We've since reorganized into like a binder style menu where 8 of the 12 pages are about sherry and or vermouth. Even our cocktails say at the top sherry and vermouth cocktails. So it's just all of the messaging when you browse through this menu is like, hey, what you should be trying at this place is sherry and vermouth. That really pivoted. Maybe we were 2 years in when we thought to do that, and we've found sherry go from 5% of our sales to now it's sometimes up to 25.
Wow.
I mean, that's great. And all that is that's really leaning into your ethos, right? If you're going to say that we're this, then you have to say, well, this is what we do. So look around. It's a crowded room. People are happy, and they're happy because they're doing the thing that we do.
Yeah. Then there's also like the quick spiel when the server comes to the table. Have you been here before? Well, we're a sherry and vermouth bar. That means that we have them both by the glass. We can do tastings of them. We can do pairings with them. There's a page that will explain what sherry is and breaks down all the different styles. So it's also somewhere that their eye just naturally falls on the menu, and it makes them curious.
Have you been surprised at all about the reactions of people? Because this is, I mean, no one who opens a whiskey bar is going to have to educate people about what bourbon is. I don't know. Maybe you might have to dispel the common myth that it has to be made in Kentucky. Other than that, people come in and they're good. So I'd love to hear ways that maybe your guests might have surprised you in some of the things that they have latched onto, or some of the things that they've tried, or some of the directions that they've pushed El Lopo in the, what did you say, 11 years that y'all have been open?
7 years.
7 years.
No, coming up on 7. That is a great question. Well, okay, they definitely confirm a lot more stereotypes than they defy. It is always like probably 7 times a day on average, I utter the sentence, "No, it's not sweet." I think I came into it expecting that the easiest sells were going to be finos and manzanillas. They're just so like easy to drink. Olorosos somehow have been the best for winning over first time sherry drinkers, and I think maybe it's because they have brown spirits as a reference point. There's something familiar about it that isn't familiar in the non-oxidized styles.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense because there is a lot of common DNA. I'd never thought of it this way before, but yeah, there is a lot of common DNA that if you are familiar with aged spirits that you can kind of graft onto those kind of more like, I don't know, like a hazelnutty notes. Sometimes you get in like an Oloroso sherry.
I like to tell people sherry doesn't taste like whiskey. Whiskey tastes like sherry.
Yeah,
Amen, brother.
that's great. And you're having success, right? You wouldn't be there for this long if you weren't like getting your message across. And talk about like, is that gratifying? Is it exhausting? Like, where do you stand on it? Coming up on 7 years in.
It is very much both gratifying and exhausting.
I feel the same way.
We're a small team, so I'm here 65 hours a week, and I mean all of our staff are working their butts off. But every time I'm approaching burnout, somebody says just the right thing about how we open their eyes to something new, or how we've built a community that they appreciate being a part of, and that's what makes it easy to keep going.
Yeah, well, since you said the word, talk about that a little bit. What sort of community have you built, and how do you continue to encourage it to thrive?
I think the easy start that we had was through being the only place in the immediate neighborhood that isn't a beer and a shot bar. It is very much that kind of neighborhood, but there are a lot of people that live here that don't necessarily always want to be in a sweaty, loud space. Not to knock those places where I drink on my way home, but
yeah, exactly.
So like right in the beginning, we already had this kind of captive audience of people that live within a 5-minute walk. And maybe we didn't set out to be as much a neighborhood spot. I think the vision initially was like more destination, but we saw like this is what's going to make this place work. So we really doubled down on that with just doing events, weekly stuff, themed nights. We just did our 3rd annual tomato night, where we just do like tomatoes all over both the food and the drinks menus, and then we do a tomato fight right outside in the alley.
What?
We just put out a giant tarp and dump 30 pounds of rotten tomatoes on it, and everybody wears white and just pelts each other.
This sounds like the scene from the Joker or from the Dark Knight where the Joker just like snaps a pool cue in half over his knee and it's just like, make it fast, guys. Is that basically it? You just dump a pile of tomatoes in the middle and you're like, have at it?
I love it.
There are a few rules, like, we tell people you can only throw tomatoes at people who are standing on the tarp. So
seems like a sensible
you can at least, like, if you're getting overwhelmed, you can walk over to the side of the tarp. But yeah, so like one-off fun things like that, and then like weekly trivia nights. That really helps build regulars for us. And we have a club that we call the Take Care of Me Club. We're at 42 members, which is about as many as we can handle. Basically, it's like having a house account and then some. So people can just show up, never look at a menu, never get a bill. We just start bringing them things. They get a few perks, like being able to send a free drink to a stranger every time they come in. And that has actually really worked as a way to get new people to sign up, because
100%
somebody gets a cool drink from a stranger and it's like, wait, what led to me receiving this?
Right. I love that. That's a great way to build some camaraderie and community amongst your guests and your regulars. And I'd love to hear more. So as a member of the Take Care of Me Club, you just said, I don't see a menu. You just start bringing me stuff, and then I get a bill once a month. Is that how it goes?
So they pay into an account once a month. So it's either 89 a month or 175 a month. And that gets you either 100 a month in credits or 200 a month in credits. So there's a bit of a loyalty discount. And they leave a card on file. So if they go over their credits, that just gets worked out on the back end. And, as long as we keep it small enough, we know everybody's faces and names in the Take Care of Me Club.
Sure.
It's easy enough for us to just like write their name on the tab and sort it out that way.
I freaking love that.
I do too. I'm taking notes.
Feel free
because
to
we're
borrow
working on
it.
something. Yeah, we're working on something at Amore Amargo where you come in and you drink X number of different Amari, just a taster of an ounce or a pour of 2 ounces. And once you achieve that number, then I'm trying to figure out what that means. Like then you get some sort of discount forever, or you get some kind of card, or maybe you get a brass plaque with your name on. Who knows? But I'm trying to do the same thing and drive that loyalty, that camaraderie, and I'm mostly thinking of doing it for the people who are already there doing it anyway. You know what I mean? I just want to show them that I see them, I care about them, and I want them to keep coming back.
Yeah. I mean, and it really works as a way to get the people who already love you to come back even more often.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what you want, right? You want loyalty to your space, and you want to show them that you're loyal to them as well. Like loyalty isn't a one-way street.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather retain somebody that already loves what we're doing than do the much harder thing of winning over somebody new.
Yeah, it's harder.
Well, and especially you said you started out without having a full liquor license. Do you have a full liquor license now, or are you still
We still
just
do not. Yeah.
I mean, if it ain't
no
broke, don't fix
intention
it,
of
right?
ever getting one. Yeah.
350K, screw that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, it sounds like you've built something that really, you don't need it at this point.
I mean, if somebody were gonna hand me one, it would be hard to say no. We do lose out on, 10 or so people a day that walk in, glance at the menu, and say like, "Y'all don't have whiskey?" Okay.
Right.
I mean, I too am not in the habit of turning down things people hand me for free, but yeah, at almost $500,000, that's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, and also do you necessarily want that? You built a business, you have an ethos, you have a directive, and okay, sure, the analogy that I always use, I use the same one all the time. Sure, you built yourself a sushi bar and it's got delicious sushi, and there are going to be people who come in and ask you for a hamburger, and you're going to have to say no to them, and that's okay. Honestly, I would, and I hope you are, and I assume you are. I'd just be ready to go and tell them, no, the hamburger place is around the corner that I love. You should go there, right? Like, but come back here when you want sushi, right? I'm here for you when you want sushi. Like, I that's what I do at Amore. Like, we're super hyper focused and very specific, and people do come in, and we have very high ratings on all the things, and so they're like, this place must be great. I'll have a glass of champagne, and my lady wants a pina colada, and my pal wants a craft beer, and I'm like, I got none of that. How'd you get this great rating? Well, because we're very good at what we do, and we do this. So I think there's beauty in that sort of like attrition, and they came in the door looking for whiskey, and so you send them on their way, but at least they came in the door, and now next time when they're out and about and they're thinking, hey, I think I want to try something fun or unique or something I'm really not familiar with. Remember that place we went into and we left? Let's go back there. Right? They're brave enough to come in, not brave enough to stay this time. Right? Maybe they'll stay next time.
And I mean, often enough, if we put a glass of Oloroso in front of somebody asking for whiskey, they'll at least order another pour of it before they leave and never come back.
Well, that's the thing. I'm hoping that they're going to come back. I think they will.
Well, this also kind of leads us into something that people have been writing about almost as much as they were writing about sherry this summer, which is the low and no ABV trend. I mean, much ink and airwaves have been spilt talking about how, the kids are drinking less, like low alcohol cocktails are going to be the next thing. The non-alcoholic spirits category has exploded. And I don't know. I just really, I have my own priors, but I'm not gonna poison the well. I'm not going to spoil the sample here. I kind of just want to put a quarter in the machine and hear some of your thoughts on this trend, because, this is, as someone who, not only is this your specialty, you specifically don't do high alcohol, high proof spirits. Right. I'd love to just get your unfettered take on this.
Sure. Unfortunately, I can't say that this new generation drinking less has translated to us moving more low proof cocktails. The trend as I'm seeing it is just ordering fewer things when they go out. So I mean, it like the people that turned 21 during COVID and never got inducted into bar culture, just
never got the chance to go up to a bar and say one White Russian, please.
So like we've even had to start doing a 2-item minimum for trivia night. We never had to do anything like that before. It's just the like 26 and under crowd that we do have to do that with. That said, and actually they're not the ones ordering the low proof cocktails. They'll get beer and unfortified wine. And I think it's usually people 30 and over that are more appreciative of the cocktail program here. I do enjoy having sort of like just this constraint of not being able to use spirits, because it pushes us a little bit harder to get creative.
For sure. Boundaries.
Treat the cocktail program more like a food program in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, boundaries encourage creativity every time. So let's talk about your cocktail program then. Like, first, I always want to know the business side. Like, what percentage, and it sounds like it's low, but what percentage of cocktails versus just wines and beers do you sell? And then also talk about some of the cocktails that you do have on the menu that you offer, and why they should compel people to order them.
Sure. Actually, cocktails, depending on the night, can be up to a third of our beverage sales. I'd probably on average a fifth. Mm-hmm. And we've always kept like between 5 and 7 cocktails on the menu. As I said, but like the headline on that page is sherry and vermouth cocktails, and that's part of our welcoming spiel, is that like you're still doing the place right if you get a cocktail, because no matter what, there is going to be sherry and or vermouth in it. We have to rely on spins on classics for about half of the cocktail list, because that's just how you get people to order stuff. Learned that the hard way. But like if it doesn't contain a cocktail word in the name of the drink, it takes more hand selling to get people to try it. So we do like I think the 3 longest lasting things on our beverage menu or on our cocktail menu are an old world margarita, a sherry Sazerac, and a dirty martini hold the gin. Which actually causes a lot of confusion. Sometimes people will be like, can I get one of these but with gin?
Yeah, no.
Nope.
You missed the plot. You missed the twist to the plot anyway. That's great. I mean, those all sound intriguing to me, and you can elaborate on each one of those builds if you'd like. I'd love to hear how you're building these things. But also, you didn't mention, and I'm shocked, like it certainly was summer, and I know Greg is beating this horse of this analogy that he is making that's completely false about sherry being all over the place.
Not false. False. Yeah. Did you miss all of the ads? All of the merch?
Yeah, all the sherry bodegas opening up all over New York.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you didn't even mention the big one over the summer. You surely sell some sherry cobblers, no?
Not exactly. So I have resisted the temptation to do things like cobblers, Adonis, bamboo, um, only in like moments of oh shit, we're out of prep for this thing and we need to slot something into the menu. But it just feels a little too obvious for a sherry and vermouth bar to be doing those things. We will certainly make a bamboo or a cobbler upon request. Right now, we do have a watermelon cobbler on the menu.
Sure.
Uh, um, to avoid just doing the straightforward thing. And that, I mean, through the summer, that is the one thing that everybody wants. Although we did just get a 1-star Yelp review for that specific cocktail.
What?
Listen, listen. My bar is 14 years old. I've never read Yelp reviews. I don't give a shit. I don't need the boost in ego from a good one, and I don't need the kick in the balls from a bad one, because either way, I'm going to run my business this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just don't.
That's probably a healthier approach than I take.
I bet I sleep better than you, and I don't sleep well. But I don't worry about that kind of shit. But I would take you to task a little bit and say, yeah, that's kind of hitting it on the head. But like, you open a steakhouse, you fucking sell porterhouse. Like, you don't go like, well, let's avoid the obvious one. I think you should consider kicking off your menu with like, these are classic cocktails. These literally exist in the canon of classic cocktails. These are known entities in the cocktail world that simply don't involve spirits, and they fit right in line with what we're doing here. And then we also have these, our no gin martini, our Sazerac, our the other one you mentioned, and the list I'm sure goes further than that. But it seems a little bit, I don't know, I'm not taking you to task too hard, but like, it seems a little obtuse.
No, that is fair.
Not to be like, we have the best fucking sherry cobbler in San Francisco. Come get it.
Yeah,
right?
I think I've been learning for 7 years to get over myself and like give the people what they want instead of what I want to give them. So I'm getting there.
Yeah, but I mean,
that was definitely persuasive.
Yeah, I think, Daniel, I would say, and I, just because our models are quite similar, I keep bringing up Amore Margot. I try not to talk about myself too much on the show, although it happens. I'm in a similar boat. Like, people walk in the door and they are dumbfounded. Their eyes are as big as plates. They don't recognize a single bottle on the back bar. Then they look at the menu, which just has all those same words, but on print instead of up on the bottles. Then they look back up at the back bar because they're confused by the menu and they still don't know what the fuck is going on. And I got to swoop in there and like talk them into it. You know what I mean? My team or myself has to get over there and talk them into it. And the first thing you do is you put them off their feet, right? You've knocked them into a place of like confusion and dismay, but then you come in and you scoop them up and you put them back on their feet, right? And how you do that is familiarity. You got to give them something that they can at least grab. In the early days of Amore Margot, for the first at least 3 years, and I attribute some of the success to the bar's longevity to the fact that in the beginning we always had a drink on the menu that involved Jägermeister. The bottle of Jägermeister was on the top shelf with a light beaming directly on it in the center of the bar, because when people would come in and not recognize a fucking thing, at least they'd recognize Jägermeister. Whether they liked it or not, whether they had some bad association or not, they could at least go, I know that bottle. And there's my grab. Like, if you could say, I know what a sherry cobbler is, what else you got? Like, there's like a place to use this as a tool to your advantage so that you can then give them what you want to give them. And I started all that because I really wanted to say, when I opened Amore Margot, and we opened Amore Margot, it says it's still in the name of the place. Amore Margot, a bitters tasting room. We thought, foolishly, that people were going to come in and enjoy Amaro with us. And they come in and they say, what's that one? And I go, oh, that's Amaro Montenegro. It's got notes of bitter orange and orange blossom, and it's got gentian, so it's floral, and it's got some juicy notes like cucumber and celery. It's delicious. And they go, great. What do you mix that with? And I'm like, well, what if I told you I've got a cocktail that tastes of orange blossom and bitter orange and has a note of florality in the middle, and it finishes off with wet vegetables like cucumber and celery? Would you be interested in that cocktail? You would? It's Amaro Montenegro. But we learned
shake
immediately.
The bottle a little bit and pour it.
Right, but we learned immediately that we had to make drinks. But in making them drinks, we're still giving them what we want to give them, right? I don't know. That's just a little philosophy lesson for you.
I had a fun argument with a regular about pretty much exactly this maybe a year ago. He was advocating hard for us to put a bamboo on the menu. And when I wasn't coming around to it, he was like, here, let me show you something. Can I buy $40 worth of bamboo right now? And I made him $40 worth of a bamboo. And he's like, cool. Can you put a cork in it and put it in the fridge? And I'm going to come back in 6 months and ask to drink that. And it's still going to taste good. And you'll see that you can just sandbag these and not have to do any work on the pickup when people order it.
Well, not only sandbag it, but you can put it together and then sell it as we sell a 90-day house aged or house rested bamboo or whatever.
Yeah.
or put it on tap or carbonate it. Like, make the bamboo your own. I'm not saying you should put a bamboo on the menu. I'm saying you shouldn't be afraid to. And if you do, then you should make it your own, because I think that is always the gateway, right? Again, my Jägermeister analogy was, it just was a gateway for me to get a conversation going. Once I start talking to you, it's a done deal. I'm going to sell you, right? And that's the thing. I'm not in the business of selling. I'm really not. I'm in the business of hospitality. What I really enjoy, and it might be controversial. Greg may not believe me when I say this. I enjoy making friends. That's what I'm doing behind the bar. I'm just here to make a friend. In that making of that friend, I'm probably going to get something in their hand and they're going to pay me for it. But like, I'm here to just chat you up.
No, I don't have an issue with that. You can be making friends and being grumpy are not like two. Those are not.
I'm very grumpy.
Yeah, those two ideas can coexist very comfortably as next door neighbors in my brain. I have no issue with that. If you're a serious cocktail geek, and I assume that if you like the show, you are, you'll probably know that when the cocktail was first defined, it was a specific combination of spirit, sugar, bitters, and water. And we tend to overlook that last ingredient, but we shouldn't. Because if you think about it, on a molecular level, that's most of what's in your cocktail glass. And if it's most of what you're drinking, you want to have the highest quality stuff. And you're not going to get that with cheap, crappy ice. The ice you want, if you're making a good cocktail, is going to be dense, it's going to be cold, and it is going to be perfectly clear. And you can get that with the Claris.
Yeah, the Claris is a home clear ice maker. It's about the size of a large toaster, sits on your counter, doesn't make any noise, and pumps out 4 about 2x2 cubes every 8 to 10 hours. If you're diligent and you run that thing twice a day, you can get 8 cubes a day. And by the end of the week, you've got 40 cubes ready for the weekend. They are hard, perfectly clear, beautiful, and kind of, once you experience this ice, you never go back. Claris is the way to go, clearly.
I would really love to kind of get into, clearly you are an Espanophile, Daniel.
Espanophile, is that a word?
It is now, baby.
All right.
Listen,
language is fluid.
Yeah, I will await the call from the Oxford English Dictionary people. But,
Right.
You clearly really love Spain. And one thing that you do that's kind of, I imagine has branched out from this bar is you do guided food and beverage tours of Spain.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, which is, that's just, to me, that sounds incredible.
Yeah,
and I'd
where do I
love to
sign?
kind of get your take on it. Maybe not, a little bit of how this whole project started and how this branched out from the other things that you're doing, but also what it's like today, because we're seeing a lot of pressure from
right,
a lot of like big tourist famously, tourist destination countries in Europe. I know Amsterdam just had a big ad campaign where they were like, "Don't come." Like, if you're going to just come,
Amsterdam, I think
barf in our canals. Don't come.
I think Amsterdam, Spain, and Japan are like leading the charge of like, stop coming, right? So how does that feel? Like, and also let's talk about your tours and also, where do I sign? I want to go.
Yeah, I'm coming anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So started out with just like, having an expensive habit of visiting Spain all the time and needing to fund it. So, first it was just me going for research purposes. And then it was like, hey, actually, next time I go, I should bring some staff with me to educate them on the things that we're serving. And then it was like, wait, how am I going to pay for continuing to do these things? So then it came to like, let's open it up and then let's let people pay to come with us. And I just put feelers out there, with initially it was like just in our Take Care of Me club. like, hey, would
Right. I was
you
about
guys
to
be
suggest.
interested in yeah,
They're like your built-in
maybe a
audience for
perk of
this.
the Take Care of Me Club is you can come with us to Spain. And so I saw plenty of interest. The first time I listed a trip on our website, it was sold out 48 hours later.
Wow.
12 slots. It's probably
Incredible.
underpriced, but
First round's always underpriced, man. You gotta sort it out, right?
yeah.
So 12 people, and what does it cost? Let's not talk about what it did cost. Let's talk about what it does cost.
So the next trip we're doing is in November in Catalunya, and this one's going to be a slightly bougier trip than most of the ones we've done. It's $350 a day for like all food and activities, extra $200 a day for lodging.
Right, $550 a day, and how many days is the trip?
11 days, but it's broken up into 2 legs, so people can join just one or both. And it's essentially all inclusive. The model is that between like 2 p.m. and midnight, if you're with the Lopo crew, you won't pay a cent for anything that you do.
Wow.
Breakfast is on you. If you want to go off and see the sights, that's on you. But if you hang with us and just go to the same places we're eating and drinking, then it's all included in the cost of your trip. A lot of it is also just going to see our producers, wineries, ranches, canneries, stuff like that. And I think that's a big selling point for the people who come is the access that we have to like a deeper layer of the culture. And that's a layer that Spain does want people to see. Like nobody is mad that we want to go drink sherry in Sanlúcar de Barrameda. That like there are no tourist go home signs there. It's as long as we're not barfing in the canals, they
Right.
are quite happy to have the tourism money.
Sure, they're happy to have tourists who are coming in because they want to enrich themselves with the culture, not because they want to come and shred the place and do whatever the fuck they want. You know, they just come and be an American in Spain instead of being an American back home. You mentioned a word in there that caught my
the tourist hotspots.
Yeah. You mentioned a word in there that caught my attention. You said the wineries, the ranches, and the canneries. Are you talking about tinned fishes? You going to see tinned fish canneries? Incredible. And I assume then you serve that
not
stuff.
as often as I'd like to, but we did a Galicia trip 2 years ago, and that was very much the focus there.
Yeah.
Because, that's where all the best tin stuff comes from.
Yeah,
Sorry
agreed.
to the other regions of Spain.
How often do you do these trips?
We're now going twice a year. It started out as once a year. I did the Sherry region in May, and this November it's going to be mainly like Penedès and Priorat.
And I imagine the reception that you all get is, as we sort of alluded to earlier, I imagine the reception is probably better than if you had just kind of showed up, in a white t-shirt and cargo pants, and we're just going to, just walking around and being loud and I don't know if you've noticed this. Our stock globally has fallen significantly since last fall. Can't imagine why, but people seem less excited to see us when we travel abroad than they used to. Man, I'm just got to say, I lived in Great Britain when Obama was president. Whoo, man, that was the best time to be an American abroad, and it peaked and we didn't even know it. But are you seeing this? And I mean, it doesn't have to be a mission, right? It can just be joy for the sake of joy. But I'd love to hear a little bit about the reactions from some of the people that you're visiting and get some of their, is there, I don't know, a sort of cultural exchange element to this that you're seeing that you are getting some enjoyment out of, and that the people that you're visiting are also enjoying, that they're, that they can be happy to see Americans again.
Yeah, that's a tough one. to be fair, I have not yet done a very large trip since the current administration went in. I mean, I've definitely been myself several times during the last term and this one, and did not feel a shift in attitudes towards Americans because, I mean, like, they understand that this country doesn't act as one block.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the easy thing is just say you're from San Francisco and like, I mean, as
Yeah.
you know, play
That little
the New
sentence
York
does
card
a lot of
all
work.
you can.
It does a lot of work. Yeah.
It's probably going to be a little bit different when I show up with 12 Americans in this November.
Well, plus you keep saying we.
yeah, the guard is going to go up a little bit when they just see this big group of people loudly speaking English walk in. But I think I can disarm it with just, going up to the bar and ordering in Spanish and not just asking for paella.
Right. And you keep saying we. Who among your team goes with you?
So we typically open each trip up to at most 4 people from the team. And it's the question is first, like, who wants to come? Because although we cover almost all the costs for them, we're not able to like keep them on the clock while they're in Spain.
Sure.
So they are choosing to go without a paycheck for some time.
Right.
And then if more people want to come than we have openings for, it just goes by like seniority and whether you have gotten to come on a previous trip. So the goal is over several trips to have everybody visit at least once.
Right. I mean, that's incredible, and that's gotta lead to some, like, that's a reward for the team that's pretty huge, and I think that's got to lead to a lot of loyalty and longevity of your staff, right?
Yeah, it has. I mean, actually, I can't think of anybody who has gone on one of these trips that doesn't work here anymore.
Right.
And I mean, I can see their sales go up when they come back from Spain. Like, it's awesome to just see them light up when somebody orders something from the bodega that they got to visit.
Right.
I mean, we've got staff like getting out their phones and showing customers video
Hell yes.
of them crawling into a cider barrel.
Listen, this is a laundry list of ancillary advantages to doing something like this, right? Like, you've made your team more loyal. You've educated your team, as you just said. Their sales go up. They engage with the guest more, so that the guest becomes excited and becomes more loyal as well. Like, this is a ripple effect. This is incredible. I love this.
Thank you.
I'm stealing this. Me and my team. We're gonna go visit Chinar. Let's go.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work. Like this last trip in May, I mean, this is relevant to the political times. I unwittingly announced it on the day that the tariffs were announced. Our May trip, so we didn't get a single person signing up for that. And that ended up just being me and my girlfriend because, nobody's paying to come. That means we can't afford to bring more stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be hiccups and backfires, but I think largely it sounds like it's a great program and it's killing it. Man, it's been really great talking to you, and business person to business person, of course, but especially when I'm talking to someone who's got such a focus like I do as well. It's really good to know that you're out there succeeding and winning people over, and still being passionate about it. Where can people find you, find your shenanigans? You got an Instagram or something you want to pimp out? And of course, tell us again where the bar is located so people can come have some sherry.
Yeah, please. Instagram is Lopo SF, ELLOPO SF, as in San Francisco. We do a newsletter too for updates on like events and things we do. We are in San Francisco, Lower Polk, on like between bush and pine on polk.
Love it. And that's, again, an easy way to remember it. Lower polk, Lopo, right?
Yeah. Please come visit, and I'll ask for you next time I go into Mario Margo.
What a great episode again. Thanks so much for being with us. Greg, read us out.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us for our first show back after the summer of Sherry, unless you're one of our beloved regulars, which means that you are fresh off of Ice Week.
Right.
That was a week-long deep dive into all things ice that is available exclusively for our Patreon regulars. So if you want to hear what that was all about, you can sign up and become a regular today. Now, I do have to say, the idea for Ice Week was that we wanted to do kind of like a Shark Week, like for drink nerds. And I thought, what keeps people cool in summer? Unfortunately, we started working on this before ICE, the government organization, morphed into a masked Gestapo force. So all of the new memberships from our week about ice, the hard, cold version of water, all of the proceeds from that are going to nouswithoutyou.la. And if you want to be a part of that and get access to Ice Week, we're going to keep that promotion running through the end of September. So come out and nerd out with us for a good cause. Plus, if you become a regular, you are going to enjoy sponsor-free listening, cocktail recipes from all of our guests. Daniel's is a really good one, so I'm excited to share that with all of you. It involves boozy cherries and boozy apricots. Nice. You'll get bonus content at the top of the show. You will get a free cocktail kit every month from our friends at Shaker and Spoon, and you will get access to a monthly after-hours hangout where Sother and I and Damon at participating locations hang out and answer questions and enjoy a drink in real time. Our next one is going to be Monday, September 29th, the last Monday of the month. And this time we are taking requests. So let us know in the comments what drink you'd like to see us make and what spirit you'd like to see us work through a fifth of. So you can drink along with us at home. It's going to be like karaoke, but like with booze. And you can also hang out with us on YouTube at youtube.com/@speakeasy.podcast. Be sure to tune in next week when our guest is going to be Mariana Mercer-Boriani of Wynn Las Vegas. But until then, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The